I'm just settling back home after traveling around in Allentown to see you all. It was something that was very special for me as a teacher, and every time I left I was feeling a bit more emotional, maybe in a good way, maybe in a sad way, just because I miss you all very, very much. And it's a hard transition, not only for you but for me, to be a virtual teacher instead of a regular teacher. But getting the opportunity to see you is something that I will really cherish and will be very close to my heart. So thank you all for being so excited. It made it so worth it. So we're going to continue back with the one and only Bob. If you're following along, it's on page 129. On the subject of chimps, probably I shouldn't have mentioned the chip angle. Gorillas aren't as open-minded as dogs. A lot of them have a thing about chimps. So we left off with Bob critiquing one of Ivan's paintings and saying that the painting of Kenyani looked like a chimp, which she didn't like that. A lot of them have a thing about chimps. They think they're clowns. But when I look at apes and gorillas, seems to me they have a lot more in common than they admit to. Dogs ain't perfect, but I'll tell you one thing. Where we rule, tolerance. For us, a dog is a dog. Is a dog is a dog. I see Great Dane, I say, howdy. I run into a puggle, it's glad to meet you. How's it going? Smelled any good pee lately? Go to a dog park and you'll see. We are equal opportunity playful. You sniff my rear, I sniff yours. You don't see that with humans, obviously. Constantly seeing differences where none exist. All those things like skin color, dogs could care less. You think I won't hang with a Dalmatian because he's spotted, or a Shar Pei because she's wrinkled? I'm not saying I love every dog I meet. Snickers comes to mind. But I'll always give a dog the benefit of the doubt. Life is short, play is good, and there are plenty of tennis balls to go round. A very handsome dog. Hi, Aunt Kenyani, Ruby calls. Once again, Ruby, says Kenyani, I am not your aunt. I am a primate, and you, my dear, are not. More's the pity. But if Ivan is my uncle, then you have to be my aunt, Ruby declares, says Ivan, pointing to the wall. My painting, Bob? I consider. It looks like a dog? Ruby flaps her ears. I can tell she's trying very hard to stay quiet. A very handsome dog, I add. Is it? It is, Ruby exclaims. It's you, Uncle Bob. Uncle Ivan told me. But who's that? I asked, pointing to another set of mud strokes. I thought you needed a companion, said Ivan. I know you must get lonely at home by yourself all day. It's true. I've never mentioned that to Ivan. Guy's like a mind reader. I think Snickers and Bob's would make a cute couple, says Ruby. I blink in disbelief. Bite your trunk. Ruby starts to reply, but her voice is drowned out by a sharp clap of thunder. Storm's getting close, says Kenyani. Ivan, dear, come on. You know how you hate the damp. It's true. He carries around old burlap bags so he won't have to sit on wet grass. Ivan looks at me sheepily. She knows me so well. Kudzu, one of the baby gorillas, bounds over and leaps onto Ivan's back. Ivan loves all the youngsters, but Kudzu is his favorite. I think she reminds him a little bit of his twin sister Tag, who died when she was still a baby. So there is Ivan and Kudzu. You can see a little smile on Ivan's face, right? Ride, Kudzu commands. Julia peers her backpack at ready. Bob, she calls. We need to get going. Ride now, Kudzu repeats, yanking on one of Ivan's ears. Looks like it's time to go, Ivan says. Good to see you, buddy. Stay dry, okay? Will do, big guy. I turned to Kenyani. Enchanted, as always, my dear. A trumpeting noise cuts through the air. Oh, says Ruby. That's Aunt Akello. Akello, the oldest of the elephant ants, lumbers over. Come on, Ruby. Weather's getting bad. Just one more minute, Ruby pleads. Now. But I need to tell Uncle Bob one more riddle. Now, Akello repeats. Nobody ever listens to the littlest elephant, Ruby complains. You can tell me the riddle next time, kiddo, I say, winking at Akello. Ruby brightens. Okay, gotta go. Or I'll be in big trouble. Love you, Uncle Bob. See you later, Uncle Ivan and Aunt Kenyani. I'm not your... Kenyani begins, but Ruby is already galloping back to her herd. The beginning. In the distance, thunder growls long and low and not giving up. Reminds me of my stomach pre-breakfast. He's fun. Bob makes me laugh. I test the air. Weird. Something's not right. Julia! It's George rushing over. Hurry up! You need to get inside. George has an odd scent. Like he's on guard. I've only smelt it a few times on him. I look up. The clouds have turned strange shades of green and yellow and gray, clustered together like rows of fat marshmallows. It's so ugly, it's beautiful. I can't stop looking. The air goes still, like a cat before it leaps onto its prey. Kenyani and Ivan and Kudzu are racing towards the gorilla villa. A fat raindrop hits my nose. It tastes wrong. How can rain taste dangerous? People are yelling, running, opening umbrellas, covering their heads with maps of the park. More drops. At the far end of the field, I can just make out a Kello herding Ruby along. Another drop. A dry one. Like a pebble. Hail, George says. Julia, now! He grabs her hand. Rumbling, the sky boils and swirls. Bob, Julia calls, come on! I move to leap off my perch, to run to Julia. I've done it 1,000 times, but this time, I lose my footing. I never slip. I am as nimble as Nutwit. But the rain, the hail. I let out a yelp as I land on Ivan's side of the wall, splat in the mud. Bob! Julia screams. He'll be okay, George says. I can smell Julia's fear and George's doubt as he drags her away. Friends, what just happened is that Bob fell in to Ivan's sanctuary where he is not supposed to be. And now he's being separated from Julia and George. And I think that we reached the climax of the story. Torn apart. Noise. It's all noise. Noise that hurts. Noise like a massive truck bearing down on us. The power of its engine, the inescapable wheels, the relentless roar. Nothing to see. Nothing even to smell. Just a terrible sound of the world. Disinterrogating. No way. I'm flying. How is Bob flying? Airborne. Not far, just into the nearby giraffe domain. Not high, just enough to buzz the top of the trees. Not long, just long enough to stop breathing, but I fly. I'm not alone. Half of the world seems airborne. Trees, boards, bicycles, chunks of roofs, umbrellas, chairs, and pieces of life. It all levitates past like some horrible magic trick. So what do you think just happened? Let's take a pause here. Bob fell. He slipped when he went to go jump to Julia. And he fell inside the sanctuary where Ivan lives, but Ivan wasn't there because he was in the villa. And suddenly on page 140, Bob says, I'm flying. And he says, he's not alone. Half the world seems airborne. Trees, bicycles, chunks of roof, umbrellas, chairs, bits of trees. It all levitates. Levitates means it's floating. I think that Bob got picked up by the hurricane or tornado. Bob. Something hits my head, a toy truck maybe, and I yelp in pain. And I'm terrified, so scared I'd pee myself, and I'll be the first to admit, you try it and see how dry your underwear stays. But still, I fly. Not like in a box, the box of my brothers and sisters. Not like the owl. This is different. This is me, Bob the dog, spending a moment as Bob the bird. So we're going to stop there. That's on page 142. What do you think happens after this huge climax of the story? Bob was lifted up by what I'm assuming was the tornado and was brought to the giraffe domain. Do you think he's hurt? Do you think he's scared? Do you think Julia's going to find him? Head over to our Flipgrid and make sure you leave a comment there or a video to let me know what you think. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I can't wait to keep reading on Friday.